And up here in the top left-hand side of Lightshade, it will be the Pakistani Terran. He's going to be the red color. It's going to be RazerBlader.
All right.
So here's the thing I'm kind of wondering to myself, mate. Knight. I'm kind of wondering, like, I'm looking at MeoMaiKa. It's a decider match. You know, he's probably considered the favorite. He's actually going to pull first. I'm wondering, what kind of a playstyle does he go for? Do you see any gimmicks here? Do you see any crazy aggression, or do you think because he is kind of like the favorite player, he's got the better ping, he's got a lot of things going in his favor, that he just plays it a little bit more sensibly?
Does MeoMaiKa ever play sensibly is my counter question there. It's like, it's answering a question with a question, which is also very rude. I was raised better than that, but MeoMaiKa is one of those guys. We've seen this opening time and time again from him in this matchup, where he'll go pull first. He'll sometimes get an Evo chamber pretty early to get upgrades for his Lings, the attack upgrades, of course, because you don't want to have Carapace when you're attacking, and it's all about the attack upgrades. But there just seems to be a way that he likes to play this matchup, rather than something that he doctors around based on ping, based on what the series means, that sort of thing. So my prediction is just that MeoMaiKa is going to go for his tried and true Ling heavy, constant in your face Zergness that MeoMaiKa knows.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that feeling as well. I think it's going to be that sort of, even though it was a different matchup, I think he's going to play this where he's going to kamikaze into the base, try to sort of force the door down and force RazerBlader to respect him, kind of like we saw, I think, MeoMaiKa against Azure the other day. You know, I'm expecting that exact same kind of play style. RazerBlader is a kind of player that I expect even less aggression than you saw from Azure. You know, at least Azure the other day, he was mixing things up. He went for Blue Flame. He went for that Hellbat push once. You know, he has a couple of cheeky little builds he likes to do. RazerBlader, I feel like, is even less liable to go for something like that. Every time I've watched this guy, I don't think I've seen him throw even one curveball. You know, it's just been standard openers. He really likes to rely on those fundamentals to be able to get him through a lot of games. And when it works well for him, you know, it's beautiful to watch. It
is indeed. Also, you know, one of the things that we saw in the lobby, actually, you guys didn't get to see that from home, just for your benefit. RazerBlader did say that he is a fan of MeoMaiKa. He enjoys the MeoMaiKa a lot, but he said that after the series, he may not be. He's keeping open to the fact that he may actually be a MeoMaiKa hater after this best of 3. And as the Evo chamber, like I said, this is the way that MeoMaiKa likes to play. He's going to be looking to get +1 melee here and start hitting that Z button.
I think he's got to get into that mindset of a MeoMaiKa hater. You know, you can't get too bedazzled by this man. You got to be able to try to get yourself in mindset. Can't be giving him any free passes. He'll definitely take advantage of it. As you do see MeoMaiKa just droning up. Like you said, starts that +1, so wants to play that sort of Ling-heavy gameplay. Keen to see how RazerBlader wants to make his way through this game. He does have a couple of those Hellions. He's got the safety bunker. He's starting to make his wall, getting a Viking to push away some of those Overlords. And there starts for MeoMaiKa.
Yes, indeed. Pretty quick leather for Meo. I mean, Meo has also shown that with this +1 Ling attack here, or the melee attack, he's also loving Fast Spire a little bit in this matchup, even though he can just skip it all together and just go straight Ling Bane. We have seen Fast Spire from Meo before, and this is actually kind of similar to Azure, going for the armory a little bit earlier, so going for some quicker Hellbats as RazerBlader. This actually hurt Azure more than it helped when he went for it, because he was Hellbat dunking a mineral line, but not really having a whole lot at home to handle the flood of units from MeoMaiKa. So we'll keep an eye on that, as RazerBlader still hasn't completed his wall here in the natural just yet.
Does have these Hellions out on the map, as well as the Reaper, and every single time you see Lings out on the map from MeoMaiKa, he's catching something, he's making something happen. He does face himself a little bit of a supply box, so he starts to pump out some Overlords and a very, very fast Hydra Den. A return to something of a norm for MeoMaiKa, which actually I've seen him go for this fast Hydra Den ages ago against Seether, who tried to Hellbat push him, and he absolutely demolished the Hellbat push. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, I think Seether pushed into a handful of Hydras and was just pinched from like 2 or 3 angles, and it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, this is the you know, MeoMaiKa used to be the Hydra man. The Hydra list to me was the MeoMaiKa unit, and then it's kind of been replaced by the Lings. But yeah, we see some static defense coming down here from Meo, realizing that, oh, Hellbats are coming on the way, and I actually don't have any units yet. And straight Ling here is not too effective against a guy with Hellbats and medevac support, and even some Marines here for good measure. Very, very anti-circling army here from RazerBlader. His third base is in a little spot of bother here with his Lings. If the third finishes, he can repair it. It's quite low. The Hellions going to assist here. Looks like RazerBlader is going to be fine back at home. That third hatchery, MeoMaiKa, way less fine.
Yeah, he just sacks it. He's tried to go for that counterattack once again. Unfortunately, caught out without enough units, and he's decided to potentially sack that third. He actually does start to dive in and defend this a little bit more now that you do see the Hydras start to come into the fray, and he is targeting, firing down a hell of a lot of those Hellbats at this point, but moving forward is RazerBlader not afraid to take this fight, and I'd say he's trading pretty cost effectively here. He's starting to be cleaned up, and a couple more Hellions do come in to be able to reinforce this push, but I think MeoMaiKa has just saved that third.
Yeah, just barely he's holding on to this third base. Of course, it wasn't clean and it wasn't free. MeoMaiKa did lose a ton of resources there in that defense, and he's still not out of the woods yet as this Liberator shows up in the main base. And this isn't just happy to siege on the main. It's actually looking for more drone damage here, getting to the bottom right here to save itself from the Hydras. And it could potentially just turn and fire on the natural as well. There's a lot more workers from Meo just trying to abuse that bit of dead space here on Lightshade. He actually gets in a little bit deeper to cover a few more mineral patches, exposing it to the Hydras, but just denying a lot more mining time.
It does finally clean up that Liberator, but I'd say that's more than well and truly job done here for RazerBlader, who again does come in with yet another Hellbat, getting a couple more drones, just a couple of rallied units. You know, it's not a big commitment from RazerBlader, but he's getting a lot out of a little at the moment while he starts to ramp up his production. He's moving into the upgrades, managed to keep that third CC alive, which he's going to start to move on to location. So I'd say as far as games go for the Terran, this man's actually looking pretty decent here.
Yeah, he's pretty far ahead as far as economy goes. He is, you know, when you see a Terran having the same worker count as a Zerg, that's really good for the Terran, especially considering you see that third base flying out. MeoMaiKa is doing a really weird-looking counterattack, just Lings and Hydras, and the Hydras are going to have muscular augments here in a minute, so they're going to have that speed upgrade. They don't have ranged upgrades, so they're not having groove spines. But MeoMaiKa is one of those players that, when things look uncomfortable for him, it's kind of weirdly in a way his comfort zone because he thrives in chaos. So we'll see how he does here. Certainly at the moment does not look great for him.
Yeah, what looks weird is just something that he's kind of worked out, you know, timings that don't look, you know, that fantastic to a viewer or maybe to someone that's playing against him. You got to recognize that this man has played this play style, you know, in and out, you know, up and down, every single way possible. He's been in every situation. So he knows when he has these really weird timings where it looks like he's moving out with not that scary of an army, but he's quite aware of what his opponent has access to and what his opponent's doing. And he does usually find some timings, drop moves out, which does get spotted by the Lings going on towards that third base location, trying to run by and kill a SCV or a worker or two, but it does get cleaned up, and now the Hydra's actually intercepting the drop. That's one dropship full of Marines, just goes down for free. A beautiful play there from Meo.
You know, this is such a Meo thing, is that at the third base, I thought Meo was asleep because he just let his drones die to one Hellbat and he didn't pull anything away. And then it looks like he's jacked into the Matrix with moves like that, where the Hydras just move out on the map and pick off the medevacs. This is why I like Meo so much. You just don't know what you're getting. He's a box of chocolates, just like the Tom Hanks movie.
Well, moving around with those Hydras, which are running pretty fast like Forrest Gump himself, now that they do have that speed upgrade. Hive is actually finishing up. A pretty early Hive coming in there from Meo as the drop comes in towards the main base. RazerBlader starting to get active out on the map. Not too many units actually here to be able to intercept this. And weird fights in the middle of the map. Actually, Infestors. I haven't seen Infestors in ages, Maynard.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that they got built here, Pilasky. This is a confusing moment here for me, but I do like the Infestors a lot, actually. Like, you think about it, locking a fungal down the Marines, making it harder for them to escape against these Hydras. It's actually a good unit here for MeoMaiKa, but of course he does need to keep it out of the battle. The Lings need to get in front of those Hydras as well, as the Bio with tank support can definitely take this fight, usually 9 times out of 10, especially off creep. MeoMaiKa getting very deep here. Needs to take it easy, take a chill pill, and let the Terran come to him. This is unfortunately where the lack of creep spread that MeoMaiKa normally shows in CVT really can hurt, is when Terran parade pushes like this.
Yeah, he needs to get those sort of sieged up a little bit more, though, as you do see a handful of those Hydras are actually starting to get a little bit low. Drop does get cleaned up and he resaturates that. Now he's starting to see the siege come in. He's going to push back the creep. When I say creep, I mean literally one creep tumor, and set up his tanks up here on the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to go for a bit of a flank here. He's got a bit more energy on that Infestor, potentially one more Fungal. I can't really see the energy bar there, but the Lings are coming in for the right side. No Banelings, though, really hurting the chances against those Marines as RazerBlader stands and fights with the Marines, cutting through that first line of Lings. The Hydra count just high enough for MeoMaiKa to hold on, though. Again,
he's done it again. This is literally what I'm down, Maynard. It's ridiculous. The man just, I don't even understand. Always just enough. It's always the perfect angles coming in with those Hydras, and he's straight on the gas pedal, going on the aggression towards the natural now.
And what just happened? All of a sudden, MeoMaiKa's in the lead. He's got 72 workers. He droned during that attack, and he's got a bigger army. His upgrades is going towards +3. I would actually, you know, unironically, really love to see MeoMaiKa go towards Lurkers here to just get a bit of splash damage into his army, not to rely too heavily on Fungals to try and get the splash damage against those Marines, but straight Ling Hydra here, no Banelings. You got to have something a bit more convincing than that as Meo. If you're up against Marine tank, I feel like that's the better comp for Terran. And if RazerBlader takes a bit of a breather, gets a big cluster of Marine tanking together again, I don't like Meo's chances at winning a fight without creep spread.
I would usually agree with you, and you are seeing, you know, pumping 15 Marines out at a time. I think it's going to matter in terms of where the engage happens. You know, if RazerBlader is allowed again, that's where things could get a little bit scary. But you're seeing Meo, he's staying active. He's trying to force him to siege up a little bit earlier on. Now he's starting to see the lick up some of those reinforcements, and the fight comes in towards this fourth location.
Oh, MeoMaiKa not taking a good start to this engagement here. The Hydra is trying to get a bit of a concave, a bit of surround on that bio, but they're not really finding it. There's no creep connecting these hatcheries either, so Meo's going to have to fight off creep. He's making another queen here. He's just trying to get enough queens to inject his hatcheries. He's only got 4 queens, so he actually can't eject every hatchery he's got right now, which is just a weird situation for a Zerg this high level. This is what I was worried about, is that RazerBlader is just getting his forces into one big clump, knowing that Banelings aren't a thing. And if he's just got a split of units here with a good tank count, it's so hard for Meo to do anything about it.
I'm not sure he can potentially save this fourth tree, as you do see RazerBlader creating a bit of a wedge, but the flank coming in from Meo, it's another one of these situations where he's trying to find this perfect angle to be able to break that tank line.
Well, Meo is going to come in for both sides. He did lose that hatchery. He is still on 4 bases, but this choke point is not nice for the Hydralists. The Hydras on the right side, assisting with the Hydras on the left, and the flank actually does get it done. Meo holds again and picks off a few medevacs on the way through for good measure. I think RazerBlader probably just doesn't understand what's happening in this game, and that is the magic of the MeoMaiKa.
Yeah, how can you play against, you know, someone you've played against that generic specific style every single time? This is completely something different, completely something unique to MeoMaiKa. Now he's going to move in towards the natural after he gets that engage. He doesn't want to let the Terran start to build up a little bit too much. He needs to be careful not to overextend, does start to chip down some of those Marine counts, and continues to get aggressive in towards this wall. Man. I think he is kind of breaking RazerBlader here.
Who's breaking who in this natural? I mean, these Hydras do get cleaned up. The guns coming in. This is +3 attack and Marines. They are just shredding through these Hydralists, which again, you know, they only have +1 Carapace. They got +3 attack. You know, Meo is all about the attack, and that includes upgrades, which means that his defenses aren't looking super great. He's bringing in some Lings to assist these Hydras. He had an Infestor there that looked like it got picked off. The Lings looking to surround these Marines. This is such a tug of war here, but I do feel like the Terran, if he just takes a bit of a breather, gets closer and closer to maybe 180 supply, and then tries again with +3 armor, which he's unfortunately forgotten. I could actually just see RazerBlader just rolling through MeoMaiKa, who's just being so, I guess, just tenacious here with tier 2 tech. He's not going into anything hive related apart from +3 attack.
It's going to be the same thing again. And again, it's all about the angle here. Actually, Meo getting caught in transition a little bit with those Hydras, but the tank's not set up, means that the majority of the DPS doesn't actually start to come into the fray. Now the Marines moving forward, trading a little bit more cost effectively. A little bit of a swank in towards the back line does actually get cleaned up, and surely he's broken.
Yeah, this might be the finishing blow finally for RazerBlader. MeoMaiKa, I mean, it wasn't pretty, and he made him work for it, but RazerBlader has finally found that critical damage that he wanted in this game. MeoMaiKa went in with that flank, but the problem was he lost all of his Hydralists to the Marines, and while his Lings did an all-right job against the tanks, RazerBlader has taken the wind out of the Zerg sails here. These Infestors aren't convincing splash damage. No Banelings, no Lurkers. How do you beat mass Marine here without them? I just don't see it here for the Zerg.
It's definitely not efficient, is it? You know, the Hydras trading out with those Marines is never something you want to see, as well as a tank just ripping apart all of those units. And now the push comes in. The tank's not quite sieged up yet, and Meo's going to try and take another fight here.
Yeah, this fight will be the last in the game, though. This is way too much from RazerBlader. And GG, the Terran taking game number 1 here. MeoMaiKa tournament life on the line in map 2.
Wow, that's a really, really great performance there from RazerBlader. That's exactly how you'd want to see him win a game. Like the initial Hellbout push got a lot more damage than I was expecting to get done, and I think that really slowed down MeoMaiKa just enough for him to be able to get himself comfortable enough to win that game. And it took a couple of pushes, some good defenses, but after all said and done, logic finally prevails, and the Marine tank does actually beat the Hydra Ling, which is something you'd expect to happen in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the unit comps, even brought it up during the cast, I'm like, this unit comp's not meant to work against this one, but you're quite right. The Hellbat attack at the start of this game gave RazerBlader the urge in the early game, which he capitalized on. This was a lovely counterattack, rather a catch there from MeoMaiKa. This is when I was like, oh, he sees the code. He's in the Matrix. He's going full Neo right now. But and then you see defenses like this. You're like, there's no banelings here. How do you hold this? Doesn't RazerBlader just win here? But through the power of just knowing how to win a fight with Hydralisks, because he's made Hydras in this matchup way before Hydras were any good, he just is like, no, I got this, and he's right. Neo holds, and he finds himself with a nice lead at that point. But I mean, this stubbornness to not get creep spread, to try and just make Hydra Ling and make it work with a couple infestors here and there, really punished MeoMaiKa here, because RazerBlader, it made it easier for the Terran to get what they needed to do done. If you're giving an excuse to the Terran and just mass Marines and keep making tanks, then I mean, the Terran's going to be laughing. They're like, yeah, sure, I'll keep doing it.
Well, it's tournament life on the line. Like you did say, this is the last advancement match out of this group. So I'm keen to see what the adjustment will be. RazerBlader putting himself in pole position to advance and try to put together yet another upset. And then we're going to see the craziest playoff bracket ever. Yeah,
it's just completely a giant question mark as to what that top 4 looks like if we get, apart from the players, of course, when we get up to that point. But we're going to take a short break, guys. When we return, can MeoMaiKa fight back and tie it up? Or is RazerBlader going to come on through and get rid of another top 4 player from last season? Don't go away. G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the main event here for Oceania, rest of Asia. We are jumping on in to see how MeoMaiKa can do here in the final match of Group B against RazerBlader. This is the decider. This one's for the last spot in the top 4. Pilski, how do you feel about the series so far after Game 1? Is it kind of what you expected? And do you have any predictions for Game 2?
I'm kind of actually hoping that we see RazerBlader come and finish off this series. It would be the most insane playoff bracket that you've ever seen. At the same time, though, that would mean that I see less MeoMaiKa games.
Yeah,
so I'm also hoping for the reverse sweep, to be honest. It's good to just see him take a game in his comfort zone, and it's good to see him sort of put away a strategy that should be not so effective against that more sort of standard Terran macro style. So this is where I really want to see what MeoMaiKa has up against his sleeve. Obviously, we've seen him employ that style so often. It's his tried and true, it's his trademark, but he's going to have to come up with something different because it felt like RazerBlader knew exactly what he wanted to do against that.
It did certainly seem that way. Well, in the top left here, this is the guy who's got a lot more question marks over him than I have for RazerBlader. What has he got in store for us here in Game 2 on Death Aura? In the blue, representing Vietnam, this is MeoMaiKa.
And a man who is, despite ping issues, just employing some solid Terran fundamentals to try and upset here. It's going to be the red Terran RazerBlader.
Yeah, buddy. And I was just having a bit of a think and a bit of a chat with the Brains Trust Twitch chat grandmasters is who I was talking to in between games, and the question of why doesn't MeoMaiKa spread creep when it's objectively a good thing to do as a Zerg came up, and it really is quite interesting. It's like it's something that is, certainly it takes a bit of APM, a little bit of multitasking to do. Maybe MeoMaiKa doesn't feel super great with multitasking. Maybe that's like one of his weaknesses. He's such a smart Zerg. He's very, very good strategy-wise. And he definitely has a weird style that's been very effective. There's a reason he's in the group stages. There's a reason that he's in the deciders match here and not completely out 0-4. He didn't just luck his way in here. He is a very good Zerg. He got to the top 3 last season. I mean, you don't do that by losing. so clearly he wins a lot. But it's kind of like being a Protoss and not using Chrono Boost or not muling his Terran. It just feels so strange. I mean, he is still injecting, of course, so he is still producing a lot with his lava. But even then, the injects start to fall off later in the game. So it leads me to believe that maybe MeoMaiKa has a multitasking weakness that he makes up for by just having a interesting and hard to download strategy.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that to myself, and I think especially when you see him on 2-3 bases and he has 4 queens just sitting there, yeah. I kind of wondered to myself, his response to some of that aggression as he moves up into the Hydras and he builds himself a couple of spine crawlers, and thinking like maybe he wants to intentionally hold on to that energy to be able to use the spine crawler reaction and the transfuse to be able to hold off some of that aggression that you do see from the Terran, and he doesn't want to invest that in towards the creep spread. But even if that were the case, why don't you see him after he feels a little bit more comfortable, after he gets the Hydras online and is able to get a little bit more aggressive with some of those lings? Why don't you go and spread the creep a little bit more? If that was the case, I'd like to see him sort of delay it and then move into the creep spread later on.
Yeah, that's a solid question as well. It's just like when the dust settles, why don't you see it? When you have the freedom to do that a little bit more, why don't you see it? I think maybe the reason why he goes a little bit lower in the queen is because he likes to use those minerals for things like what we're seeing right now, which is the Evo chamber, nice and early. Usually a lot more lings than you would expect in the early stages of the game as well, which also cost minerals and would cut into queen production. So there's a lot of question marks, and it really feels like when the replay packs started, they were released and we looked at the tournament replays, he's the kind of player that scientists are going to set up laboratories and get funding from big corporations and that sort of thing to try and figure out what makes MeoMaiKa tick.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'd like to have some player interviews. I mean, I'm not sure about MeoMaiKa's level of English. Most people that I know speak pretty decent English.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, why don't you just ask him?
I would love to.
Just add him on Twitter, just, get a bit of an interview going or something like that. Just ask him what's going on in that brain.
You know what? I'm going to make a note of that now that you mentioned that. I'm going to talk to MeoMaiKa after the just in case he loses, maybe give it a couple days. But but if he wins, I'd love to talk to him about his decisions and why he does the things he does. And I would just be, I would be heartbroken for him to just be like, it's just like, I think
it's got to be a comfort zone thing, right? He's gotten so good at playing a certain way, and he's getting himself results. And I think, you know, you see this in other esports as well, that people, they learn to play the game a certain way, and even if it's an inefficient thing, maybe they wouldn't have gotten as far playing a more traditional way than they do. You know, just trying to play properly and trying to play normally. He definitely has a lot of unique strengths. You do see the Spire go down a little bit earlier on. That's something you were alluding to last game that we didn't see to come to fruition. And a bit of a supply block there. And only now just adding some of those Overlords is really going to sort of inhibit his ability to drone up a little bit and saturate this third base.
Yeah, I mean, he is ahead in drones, but you're quite right. Without those Overlords, with the supply block, it's a little bit tough to get the extra units out specifically, because there are a bunch of Hellions heading across the map, and he doesn't really have the ability to hold on against these Hellions because his Queen count isn't super high. He does a few more on the way. I think MeoMaiKa, with that Overlord, sees the Hellions, evacuates the third, knowing that he can't defend it.
Wow. That supply block is actually killer. That's insane right there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there was an armory this time around, so it is just the Hellions, and there is no drones for them to roast. So luckily there wasn't the armory touch there this time around from RazerBlader, who is starting to move in with the Liberator. He wants to try to and again, high energy Queens with the Spine Crawler response. I'm kind of wondering if he just wants to utilize that transfuse. More Queens are popping out, and he is losing a couple of drones to that Liberator, but the Queen's pushing that away pretty decently. I'd say Meo's doing a good job just pulling his drones to safety and keeping them alive for the time being.
Certainly, you know, a lot of denied mining time here, but the problem for MeoMaiKa, or rather for RazerBlader, is that he didn't find any critical damage there. He at least didn't lose the Liberator, but MeoMaiKa is going into Spire Tech here, and I think RazerBlader is probably not realizing that the mutas are happening very early in this game, that MeoMaiKa is playing a little bit differently in Game 2 than he is in Game 1. Because we are not seeing turrets here. We've got the double engineering bay, no turrets just yet. He's just still making Marines back at home, albeit this won't be that many mutas to start things off with. So, I mean, maybe when you see this few amount of lings from MeoMaiKa, of all people, you're like, oh, there's something happening. He's hiding something here.
So you see RazerBlader go into some mines, so that might be a little bit more handy against the mutas if you can get some good mine positioning or something like that, as opposed to the tanks. Is again going into the upgrades. So yeah, armory starting up, get that early +2/+2, and he's going to move his way through the rest of this game. He still does have those Hellions alive, so that's where he has a bit more potential to be able to deal with some of these Ling counterattacks that you do see from MeoMaiKa. They're a big tool at his disposal, and he's taking care of them. He's got the SCVs coming over here to repair them up, so...
It does seem like RazerBlader is very prepared for Mutalisks, like you mentioned with the Winter Mines. He's got a stack of them to the north side of the main base, which is the hard gotcha Winter Mine count up there for RazerBlader. Like those 3 mines, if they all fire on a cluster of stacked up mutas, those mutas are dead.
Need to be keeping an eye on that for sure. This is RazerBlader just doing what he does. He's powering up. He does get a scan on the Spire if he didn't already see those mutas at some point, and they are going to start getting a little bit more active on the map. Meo's grabbed himself a 4th base, but RazerBlader is also, you know, pretty even on workers, getting that 3rd base pumping for himself. This is where the mutas need to start evening things up a little bit.
And with the faster mutas, they're also going to have +1 nice and quickly here. So these mutas are going to do a little bit more damage than you would expect at this point as a Terran, but RazerBlader is locking things down pretty tightly. He's got a good minefield set up as well. There's one Wonder Mine by the 3rd base. Oh, just threading those mutas there for a little bit, but good control from Meo, avoiding that mine for the most part for now. Oh, the debate Winter Mines with the Medivacs here. RazerBlader is going to try and get the tastiest of targets for these mutas, which is Medivacs, and hopefully pick them off. This is a very big brain maneuver. Let's see if he takes the bait.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And the Stim Marines straight under them. Man. That's the entire flock of mutas going down. And in the meanwhile, you saw the Lib actually fly in there and get a handful of drone kills as well. I was just thinking to myself, wow, those mutas are doing some pretty decent damage here, but that is a big brain move there from RazerBlader, and he's going to go off the back of this. He starts to move straight across the map as soon as those mutas are starting to thin in numbers. He just wants to move out before the flock gets too thick again.
Well, at the moment, you know, MeoMaiKa does not have Banelings. He does not have Baneling speed. He's moving out against this bio here. Oh, man, the ground army of Meo just disappears. RazerBlader, oh, he's on the precipice of actually taking the serious pills. Like, this is a small-looking army, but without Banelings, I mean, there is just a very, very rough chance of MeoMaiKa actually managing to hold on here. The upgrade lead for the Terran is also quite real.
Starts to move in there with a couple of these Hellbats getting on top of the Queens, and there is a Spine Crawler just poking away. A couple of Transfusers going on top of those those Mutas, but there's just a little bit too much bio here, and there's no units for Meo. There's no Banelings here, Maynard.
He's got the Baneling Nest, but he's never had the freedom to morph them. He moved out on the map. He tried to counterattack the Terran for some reason, and now RazerBlader is just A-moving with Stimmer Reigns, and even if he gets cleaned up here, he has found some serious damage here in the natural of MeoMaiKa, and he's not done.